Welcome to the Cooperative Exchange. And Len, welcome. Thanks for being with us today.
Well, thank you very much, Walt.
Let's start off by talking a little bit about Home and your organization, and specifically what it is.
Home is a 31-year-old nonprofit charity. We're statewide. Very important to us is we do not charge any fees to any of our clients, nor do we receive any remuneration from any loans or financial transactions which may happen along the way with working with a client. That's why we have a very strict sense of an independent third party on that process. So any decisions that may be derived or people come to working with us, Home will not be advantaged by them in any stretch of the imagination. But we're working with basically low to moderate income senior homeowners, which is a growing, burgeoning population. And our task is to help them age successfully in their homes. I'm the founder and director of the program, and in that period of time we've dealt with approximately 28,000 elder households. And we've freed up in the vicinity of probably $250 million worth of resources, from loans to various programs, services, and benefits that we've hooked people up with.
You know, I'll approach this as someone that's objective coming in, and I guess my first reaction would be thinking about the elderly, seniors living in their homes. I'm thinking that perhaps a lot of them are really like taken advantage of. There's abuse cases. Can you set the stage of what you find going on right now with seniors in homes like that? Is that the case?
Well, there's certainly there's a broad definition. There is financial abuse or financial people playing with elders' resources from families themselves, which I think is probably a disproportionate amount of that, sons, daughters, other family members, even neighbors, to what people more traditionally envision or see in terms of various companies and services that are basically on the make, who are trying to shyster seniors and certainly take advantage of their whatever finances they have. In fact, a recent study in California said that approximately 47% of all seniors who are having significant financial difficulty, it's because of their children.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and it can range from just let's say a 2 or 3 family home owned by a senior, and they have children who move in who don't pay rent, who are not helping to contribute towards utilities, even buy groceries, etc., to people who are outright dipping into their credit lines, into their credit cards, and even much worse than that. So and we traditionally on an annual average probably get a dozen or so cases in which we will discover that an elder has elders have co-signed a note for one or more children, and those children are not even providing 1 cent in terms of support for paying for that note.
You know, I kind of wonder about that today because there's a big issue, of course, with student loans for college and going to mom and dad to co-sign.
Yes.
And I could see as time goes on and situations develop, it could be quite a trying situation perhaps as well.
Well, it's a growing one. And I would also say that the percentage of seniors who are not just involved financially with and contributing a great deal to just their children, which can oftentimes be the most inappropriate thing they could ever do, but they feel an obligation, which is taken advantage of, but also a tremendous number of seniors are now involved with being responsible for bringing up grandchildren. It's in the vicinity of about 12 to 15% of all seniors are now bringing up grandchildren.
So when you start looking at all these, challenges, let's call them that, present themselves to, say a senior couple that's living in their home, that's maybe sometimes the only thing that they own. What do you do for them? What does Home do for them that provides that kind of assistance or stability to help them retain an ownership and grow old within their own home?
And again, for the vast majority of these people, the only asset they really have is the house and what equity they've accumulated with that house. That's their sole important asset in life. Essentially, I would say the majority of our clients get referred to us by the Elder Service Network of the state, oftentimes by certain state agencies like the Executive Office of Elder Affairs or the Division of Banks. We also have a surprising amount of referrals from the private bar, as well as legal services. And the kinds of, the focus point of the referral would be home repairs, which they can't afford to make, or, for instance, barrier changes in the house, for instance, putting ramps in, making changes in the bathroom, et cetera, so they can age there successfully, to being unable to pay for, again, loans which they may have, this is the sad part, a house they may have paid off, but now they're involved with loans with children, which they cannot support at all, to very high unsecured debt, to healthcare issues which they can't afford to confront, either on the medicine side, prescription side, or with the need for home care, that kind of assistance, someone to come and help them, and they can't afford that either. They can't private pay it. To downright homes that have had, and this is a very common problem, very many years of deferred maintenance because they just couldn't afford it.
That's right.
And I can tell you right now, we're going to have a real spike in that this spring with all these seniors
exactly.
who are unable to have well-maintained roofs and systems in the house, which is now going to redound back on them negatively, given the horrible winter we've had this winter.
Now I know you say something like repairs. So someone gets in touch with you and says, we have a couple, they have an issue with repairs. So how do you respond in that?
Well, home
particular
doesn't.
case?
We don't have any money. We're a statewide nonprofit. So, but our process is that we need to go to the home of the seniors and work closely with them face to face, which is very, very important to understand precisely what's going on, what's happening. Now, obviously, there was an application that was submitted before that, et cetera, and but we really need to sit down with them in their homes, in their environment, and get a real feel for what's been going on, what's cash in, what's cash out, what all the myriad of problems are that's going on in that household. But then our big task is to connect them with various programs, services, and benefits around the state, oftentimes which they have no idea exist, or they've had some real unfortunate misconstruing of what those programs really are and how they work. To be very honest, a lot of elders are going to be intimidated by just the fact of what it takes to navigate the system, to make the connections with these various programs.
Yeah, because it sounds like there's a lot of resources, but where to turn, who to knows them all, but it sounds like your organization is one that can put them in the right place with the right, connect the dots.
Connections.
Yeah.
Right. For instance, I mean, what's really surprising about this is, give a perfect example. There's been a couple of surveys in the last 10 years which demonstrate that literally only 15% of all seniors who are eligible, that's not all seniors, just those 15% of seniors who are eligible for things like property tax relief, things like tax deferrals, elder abatements and exemptions, veterans exemptions, disability exemptions, ever utilize them. So it's a matter of that can amount to many thousands of dollars over a particular year. And we know now that one of the largest and most difficult threats to seniors to their home ownership is property taxes, because they have very limited incomes, they're fixed limited incomes, but property taxes have not gone down. They keep going up. Another good example would be in the area of energy assistance. Very few elders, more than there used to be, but still we have a very large positive elders who actually go out and connect with, where do I go to get fuel assistance? Where do I go to get energy assistance and advice on how I can make improvements in my house and where I can get that hopefully funded? Again, we're talking, small numbers of people who actually do that.
When you consider that we have a lot of credit union folks that are watching this interview, learning about the organization, how would you see credit unions participating with you to help in this situation?
Well, over the history of the program, we've had and there's no question we would not have the success we've had. We would not certainly have probably even lasted as long as we have, except for the fact that we have a number of sectors with really important partners. One of those sectors is the financial institutions. And I would say predominantly credit unions, because they're such a terrific organizations in terms of they're member-oriented, and we're talking about long-term membership, members of those institutions needing this in the latter stages of their lives. And we're talking about thrifts and small cooperative banks, et cetera. And those are predominantly the kinds of institutions that work with us. So when we connect with, have a good partnership with those institutions, yes, there's a small fee for those institutions to be a partner with the program, which amount in total to 15% of our entire budget. So you can see it's not a huge amount of money. But that's where we can make those wonderful connections where getting the clients to us in a timely fashion, and B, making the connections with these other resources. And in some circumstances, we bring them back to the institution for maybe a financial transaction, from conventional to very non-conventional.
Yeah, I can see it being very beneficial because I'm sure a lot of these seniors are members of credit unions.
Indeed.
So you have a credit union looking after and taking care of the members by being able to make this connection. Should they find themselves in a predicament, they connect them with your organization.
Right.
They
Well,
have
I
solutions.
think it's terrific value added for a credit union, because essentially what we're offering is free counseling, again, across a spectrum of issues for their older membership who own homes to be able to stay independent and self-reliant in their homes.
Okay. And Len, now for anyone that's watching, if they want to get more information as to where they should connect with you, how they go about doing that?
We have a free 1-800 number for any elder across the state, from the Berkshires to the islands. Certainly they could call us direct as well, and they certainly could email us. That's possible as well. So there's those venues. Although I would say this is important for people to realize, is that we go to the elder's home, which makes all the difference in the world for them for that reason. So it's just a matter of making the initial connection. We do an intake over the phone. We send out subsequent to that an application, which they fill out, and we can help them or have others help them do that process, get it back to us, and then we assign it to a counselor who may be located at different regions around the state, then to be able to make the connections with them, to set up an appointment, to go see them in their homes.
Wonderful. So I also understand you're going to be speaking at the October conference at the association?
That's what I understand. I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect, perfect. So everyone will be able to hear more about Len and his program at the October conference, and they'll be able to get in touch with you through the information we provided.
Yes.
Thank you so much for taking the time today to chat with us, to give us an education.